Hi everyone. After the success of the PlayStation last week, I immediately got excited about fixing consoles and decided that I was going to try another one. So I got this off eBay. It's one of the original Nintendo Entertainment Systems. I think it was £35. Came with two controllers and the game Mario and Yoshi, which are really good. Sold for broken / spare parts, whatever you call it on eBay. Said it doesn't power on, so I'm expecting one of two things. I'm either thinking it could be the power supply, in which case we can test that, or there is another common fault I've read about in the time between purchasing this and actually starting to think about fixing it. Which is that it can have issues with the reading cartridges. There's a fairly common fault that the cartridge ports wears out on these. So I've not turned it on yet. I thought I'd get the camera rolling for when I did for the first time. So let's get a game and then try it out. Here we go. Let's test me back. Okay. So straight away the light's on, where it's flashing, and actually I very briefly got an orange picture on the screen. So I think from what I've read, if the light's flashing like this, the most common cause is there's a chip inside called the Lockout Chip. Now the Lockout Chip is used for copyright protection and things, and the way it works is if it doesn't get the appropriate signals, handshake, negotiation, whatever it is, within a set period of time, it effectively resets the console, and that gives you this blinking light. So I'm wondering if we just let it power on. I don't get anything out of it. Oh! Okay. That's interesting. I'm going to stop that because it's going to get annoying. But what we were getting there, I think, is having just moved the cartridge around a little bit, we were starting to get some of what I think was the game sounds, and actually very briefly it was flashing up, or at least once or twice, with some kind of actual picture on the screen. So I'm thinking it's definitely something with a cartridge port. So I think what we'll do to start with is we'll open it up, we'll see if we can just clean it, get it tidied up, see if anything's bent or out of place, specifically around that cartridge port, and then we'll get back together and give it a go. Okay, I'll get the bench set up. Okay, we're on the bench. Let's open her up and see what we've got. So from what I can see, I think there's 6 screws to take out. So I've got my screwdriver. Let's go for it. I'll have to be careful to not lose these. What's nice about these slightly older consoles is they're designed to be a bit more accessible, so they don't bother with, you know, fancy bits and security talks and whatever the 3 pointy ones are. It's just a standard. I think they're Phillips, but posi drive sort of screws. Hopefully nice and quick to get inside. I think that should be everything. He says dropping the screws everywhere. So we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm missing one. There we go, 6. So here we are, he's the inside of a NES. So the cartridge port is here. I think the connector's right at the back. think part of the issue with these is the spring-loaded mechanism that holds the game down. I think that wears the contacts out far quicker than a lot of other cartridge-driven systems. So we'll pop these screws out and we'll have the other quite nice thing about this compared to the PlayStation is it only works on low voltage, so you don't need to be too concerned about working near a high voltage power supply or anything like that. I think with this kind of stuff, the general rule is see a screw, remove a screw. And eventually, so there's 2 more screws around the back here as well. I'm not sure if the camera can see them, but it's here and one over there. So I'll just whip these out. I am really hoping it is just this cartridge port needs a bit of clearing up. If we can't get it going, like I'm fairly convinced, seeing what we saw with the sound starting to come on and the game coming on, that it's probably the cartridge port. Got another couple of screws here. So if we can't get it going with cleaning it up and making sure pins are in the right place, etc., you can buy replacement ones, either on sort of Amazon, eBay, or from slightly more reputable retro console type places. Leave retro mods on. Okay, so this is the connector. So I think the next thing we need to do is to remove the actual cartridge mechanism. So again, that's going to be some more of these screws. The other thing that's really nice working on this that I've just realised is every single screw is actually same length, same thread, same size. Possibly barring these silver ones that do look subtly different. We'll compare those in a second. I'm still keeping the screws relatively separate just so we can put them back roughly where they came from. But okay, so I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, those silver screws are subtly longer. We'll make sure we keep those separate, just so I remember as well. I can always look back at the camera. They go in the middle screws on either side, it looks like. How did this come out? So it must slide forward actually, because the cartridge port looks solid at the back here. So I think the front must have to lift up and then slide forward once the screw's actually out. There we go. So now it's catching on the case. There we go. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the camera down to a slightly different angle and we'll have a good look at this cartridge port. I'll also go fetch the IPA out and we get it all cleaned up. So what I've ended up doing here is just taking the cartridge off. So this just slides on a bit like a cartridge would go in actually, go into this slot. So I can see already that this row of pins here, which is the rows that the cartridge actually makes contact with, they're also at ever so slightly different heights. It's really subtle and I'm not sure the camera's going to pick it up. But I think I'm going to order a new a new cartridge port, but I'll just see if I can get in there, clean it up with a bit of isopropyl alcohol. Move the NES out of the way a little bit. Just on the off chance that we are just not making a great contact. These cotton buds really don't get in there particularly well. But it's got to be worth a go. The other thing I'll do is just clean up the contacts that are on the board as well. I'll just come underneath here as well. When I took the motherboard out, the underside of these looked absolutely fine. I can't, without disconnecting everything, I can't get it out on an angle to show you, but check there's no fluff in here. I think the big thing is the angle. I think the pins are just not making contact though. I don't think it's actually dirt. Having looked at them, they don't look particularly corroded. I wonder if it's worth seeing if we can manipulate any of them. It's going to be really fiddly to get into. No, I think I'm going to put it back together. We'll give it a go. In fact, I might even only partially put it back together. Yeah, we'll do that. What we'll do is pop this cartridge slot back in. I'll give it a test. And then we shall see where we're at and if we need to order. So again, this just pushes on. A bit like a cartridge would. Gosh, that's tough. There we are. Okay. That's looking nice. Right. I'll put the cartridge loader back on. For now, I'm just going to sit that on here. What's that getting caught on? Shouldn't be anything. I'll just put this loader back in here. That should sit roughly here. But there is something. It's really not playing. What is it? What is it? So ultimately this should sit flush on here. So that the screws, so that these screw holes here align with these screw holes here. Let's try again just to see what we're doing. Oh, there we go. I'm pretty confident I was doing something stupid, but I don't know what. Right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the camera and we'll give it another go. Okay, so we're all plugged in and ready to give it a test. Let's pop the game in. Pop her down and dry her out. Oh, look at that. Sorry, let me move the camera so you can see. Back up and working. Oh well, that's all it was. Bit of corrosion on those terminals, I think. That's genuinely fantastic. I'll get this back together, we'll give it a thorough test, and then maybe we'll play some Mario and Yoshi. Okay, we're all back together. Let's test her out. I still don't know if the controllers work, to be fair. Okay, we've still got a problem here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to order a new a new cartridge connector. It definitely looked dodgy when it was in there, possibly because I hadn't screwed stuff together. It was sat on a slightly different angle, meaning it was making better contact than before. That's fine. I'm happy we've seen a game load, so I think the general hardware is good. I really do believe it's just that cartridge connector. Sorry, that's really annoying noise. But no worries, we will we'll get one ordered and we'll hopefully next day on Amazon, and we should be good. Okay, it's the next day. We've got this stripped down again, and what I've managed to get is this new cartridge connector off Amazon. I mean, this is a common enough fault. You can buy these cartridge edge connectors, I think they're called, for the Nintendo next day from Amazon for, I think it was £9. I'm sure they're not quite as good as the originals, but if they work, I'll take it. So again, this cartridge connector, I was going to say just slides off, but flies off. It's alright, that's the broken one. So I'll put this new one on, which goes, that's the cartridge side, so this is the board side. So just slide this on. Ooh, that's like a tight fit. Really what I should do is disconnect all of the cables, just make sure I don't damage anything, but we'll give it one go first. Oh, that's going to go actually. I think that's going to go. There we go. Nice. Okay. Seat the motherboard back where it belongs. Slide this cartridge holder, I don't know what you call this bit, back into place. For those of you that have ever tried to film anything, you'll know this is quite awkward with a camera. There goes one side, there's the other side. Lovely. Right, time to get this screwed together. So first thing I'm going to do is screw the couple of screws down towards the AV connectors. One of the nice things to do with these, especially when they're threading into plastic, is if you just rest the screw in to a hole and just back it off ever so slightly until you feel it drop into the thread, and then go forward. It's just far more likely to drop into the existing thread rather than try and cut yet another thread and risk damaging things. Because the plastic can wear out with these tap screws fairly quickly. Okay, now I need to screw the cartridge port down. So remember, I've got gold ones on the outer four corners, and then the silver ones go in the ones just in front here. That's cool, right? I'll tell you what, if I can figure out how to speed stuff up in editing, we'll make this quicker. Because I'm sure none of you want to watch screwing. Okay, let's super speed. Okay, we're back together. What I'm going to do, flip it around and we'll try it again. Okay, we're back together, new cartridge slot. Got my Mario and Yoshi, it's time to give it a try. Also straight away, that feels like it's gripping the cartridge quite a bit more. First time. Okay. See if the controller works. So down, up. Start is working. Sure. I'm not sure how this game works, if I'm honest. Anyway, I'm going to play this game. You guys have some fun. Let me know in what you'd like to see next as well. If there's any particular consoles you think would be good to do. I'm not for trying anything. I'm really enjoying this getting old things working. To me, it just goes to show how much waste we have when things like this get thrown away. Like, this wasn't broken, it just needed a bit of a, well, it needed a new cartridge port, didn't it? But still. Okay, thanks very much.